Thank you, Puddin'. I appreciate that. That's hard, right? Welcome, everybody. I missed you guys more than you missed me. Trust me. Oh, it's true. What? R8RBEAR! Woo! No practice. 0 to 60. Just like that. That's my first one in a week. Woo! Gave me goosebumps. Let's go! It's that time again for the best damn opening, woo, in Facebook and YouTube live history. You know it's true because it came out of my face. Often imitated, never duplicated, that fool with no hair, woo, that shouts like Ric Flair, woo, what, woo, woo, the R8RBEAR. Oh, that felt good. R8RBEAR! That's right. Any rumors of my demise were surely put foots in them. Okay? A guy gets a little sniffles. People want to start rumors. R8RBEAR. For life. That's enough of that stuff because we got to get started. There's a lot to discuss. Lot for us to go in on. What's up, family? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you all tuning in for R8RBEAR Live. And as usual, the 5-emoji making son of a gun starts us off. R8RBEAR Live. First comment. MVP tonight goes to Mark Vargas, brother. And you got all 5 just how I like. You think I was talking about my ice cream, and he gets just the right sprinkles toppings. Second place, my silver medal goes to S.A. Big Dog. What's up, D? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Notice how I censored it there. I didn't say Big D. See, he wanted me to. He just gets D now. That's it. No, that sounds bad too. He does not. Shut up with that. What the blue blazes? Sorry. Third place. John the Lion. Leon. Always handing out L's, but never taking losses. My guy, John the Lion Leon. Honorable mention to Ramiro Cashflow Castro. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. And your brother's going to get it one of these days. That's not true, but yeah, it's funny. Bob, what's up, Bob? Welcome to the show. My guy, Bob Standard, in the house. And guys, if you need a really cool sign made for your house that's made out of wood and it's real custom and looks awesome, check out my guy, Bob Standard. He's doing some big things. And my Facebook family. First place, gold medalist, numero uno, el jefe. The champs in the house. Carlos Boy Kids. Look at Carlos shutting down my gold medal right now. He is the clear and away heavyweight champion right now. And he's been holding that belt for a minute. Second place, silver medal goes to Marvin Suarez. Marvin, I appreciate you giving me that great last name to get one off on. Suarez, a beautiful last name. Welcome to the show, brother. Third place, my bronze medal goes to Jim G. Garrison. Come on. Come on, man. Jim, there has to have been at least a few people that called you G-Man. You know what I mean? The G, things like that. It had to. Come on, man. If they didn't, your friends were lacking in your younger years. All right, that's enough. I'm going to say hi real quick. Honorable mention to Joe Holman, as usual, and the lovely Tony Carpenter Evans. I see you there, girl. Much love. Appreciate you coming to see me. Look at the Naked Raiders in the house. Michael Guerrero. Now, when you talk to Michael Guerrero, just divert your eyes just slightly. I'll explain later. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. He has beaten me in a race, and he was dressed. And I appreciated that. At least he did it for that. Ellis Irving, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Okay, so let's get to business. So the Jalen Ramsey thing, the way news travels super fast, and you guys with your cell phone. So I'm sure you've already heard. Jalen Ramsey is off the board, and he has gone to the land of Peggy, or should I say those sissy wimps out there in Steelerville. I mean, come on, Peggy. Come on. It's a shell of what it was once before. Okay, I don't know why they haven't fired that coach yet. Okay, I realize he knows football, but he is a chump. Okay? This is all just because I like Peggy. No, but he's going to the Steelers. So we're going to get an opportunity to really see if this is going to work, because I personally was one of the people who didn't mind if we made the Jalen Ramsey move. But if you had to pull me on one side of the fence or the other, I was a little concerned, because he's just older than he's ever been. He's not that shut down guy anymore. And I did say that, you know what I mean, when I was interested in him, because I was interested in him. I was interested because, it was a good fit. It's a guy that's looking toward his last few years in the league. He wants one final contract. But, the Steelers, I'm willing to bet the Steelers were just willing to pay more. Kevin Kahu Hano, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Hi, honey. Always show respect to the wives. Tim Newport, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. This is Peggy. There was a diaper explosion, and my hubby lost the coin flip. Hey, Tim. Look, you represent Raider Nation. I don't even want you losing coin flips to no Steelers fan, okay? I love you, Peggy. Welcome to the show. Carlos, boy, Bear, how quick will you think Mark Davis sells the team since his mom passed away and he can avoid the tax penalty? Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I haven't talked about his mom having passed away, because I don't think that has anything to do with football. I just don't like doing that. If it's a player, see, to me, that's different. I always take my hat off. I always give 30 seconds to former players. That's different. I respect her as the owner. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do. What is this? Sorry. It has nothing to do with her being female or male. It has nothing to do with that. I just don't feel like her death. How am I supposed to celebrate that? I can give her 30 seconds, but I mean, she wasn't a player. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying she wasn't an executive. I'm not saying she didn't know the business. I'm sure she did. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, if it were Mark Davis and this were the exact same situation, I don't have anything to say about Mark Davis. He's an owner. He doesn't throw balls. He doesn't call plays. He doesn't design anything. He pays checks. He signs checks. You know what I mean? So, why do I feel bad all of a sudden? All right, one time for Mrs. Davis. Jeez, you guys. I blame it on you guys. When all I did was read the comment. Okay, now let's get to answering the question. We have a lot of football to discuss. Okay, Carlos says, Bear, how quick will you think Mark Davis will sell the team since his mom passed and he can avoid the tax penalty now? Okay, first, Carlos, great question. Second, I think he will sell the team quickly, but I don't think it'll be as quick as you might think. For example, see, to me, quick is within a year, or a year plus a month or so. See, I think that he wants the iteration of Pete Carroll's Raiders to come to life first. And you know why, obviously. I mean, I'm not saying anything genius. It's just that if the Raiders start to win this coming season and next season, the value skyrockets through the roof. Now, that sounds silly because it's the same players if they're winning or they're losing, right? No. The marketability of the team goes through the roof. The sales of jerseys goes through the roof if we suddenly win 12 games and surrender or accept the surrender of the Kansas City Chiefs to to our dominance and we've taken the league back. If we win the division and take the league back, price just... And I mean, I can't honestly say what it would go up to, but it'll go up, though. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The price of the team would go up. What you'd make for the Raiders would skyrocket. And remember, we just had a team sell for $10 billion. It doesn't matter if it's baseball, football, or basketball. You have a team sell for that kind of money. You know, all the other owners are looking at their, pocketbooks going, damn, I can make some Jeff Bezos kind of money over here. Let's make some deals. And so he'll do it because he's an idiot. And it's an ATM for life. I mean, if he had any brains in his head, which he does not, he would have looked for someone within the family, and just pass it down. It's an ATM machine for life. It just makes no sense to sell. Now, yes, if you get $10 billion, why would you care? You're gonna die before you ever go through half that money. But, I would rather set up a family. Denton Rhodes, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. But he will sell. I don't think there's any doubt he'll sell. There's no doubt he'll sell. James, what's up, brother? Hi, Princetta. Raider Moore, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate the first-time viewer. We have a virgin in the house. You guys be nice to him. Gentle. Don't everybody grab him at once. All right, now let's get started. So there's news to report that's funny. There's news to report that's exciting, stuff like that. But I want to go right into the Geno Smith thing because I know that's hot right now. People are talking about it. They're going to want my opinion. I want to give it to you. And so here it is. Okay. Wait a minute. I've got stuff popping up on my screen here. Let me get rid of that. He says, this is Logan Moore. By the way, it's been a bit. Yeah, it has, Logan. Appreciate you coming back. Good to see you. Hi, Corinna Trujillo. And if anyone would, consider a subscription to Raider Bear Family page. Now, on YouTube, it's totally free, so just hit subscribe and hit that bell and hit like if you would. Helps me with the algorithm. Having said that, on Facebook, when you consider a subscription, it's $5 a month, and it goes to charities all over the world that we work with all the time. And stars contributing to the show go directly to charities that we work with all over the world. Thank you very much. Okay, now moving forward. Kenny Blair. That's my guy right there. From an ocean away. Corinna. True. Hello. I also auction off nice items all the time for the Raiders and Raider Nation to win on my show for the most stars contributed. I don't have anything tonight, but I will have something probably tomorrow. Appreciate you all. Wow, this thing is just chasing me tonight. All right, I mean, really? Okay, hold on, what's that? Okay, there we go. Herman Ray Gonzalez, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. How much is Mark Davis still in debt? Tim, he's in debt by a lot, okay? But with what he would make from the sale, and even though he is in debt, he still does have the legal right to sell. For example, there are times when you're in private business, if your ownership is upside down and your liquidity is zip, you usually can't sell because technically the bank would be the one accepting all the money from the deal. But in this instance, because the money is so colossal, he would be able to argue with the banks to let him free of that rule, make the sale, and then if, let's say, the team goes for $5 billion, okay? Because a realistic projection, I know the Raiders were somewhere in the 3.6, 3.8. So he could probably sell for double that, get something like $5-6 billion. Whoever the guy is going to pay it because, they're going to want to get the franchise. And then he would pay off what he owes, gets out of that, the red or whatever, and gets it back in the black, and he would have a little bit of money walking out the door. And by little bit, I mean still he'd be in the billions, you know what I mean? So it's worth doing. He'll probably do it. Yes, Corinna, and I really appreciate you telling everyone watching that that's the case because, you know, everyone can only know I'm legit each time I have to renew that reputation, you know what I'm saying? But when you see a mustache like this, could I really be a liar? I mean, come on now. All right, moving forward. Now, the Niners are pretty pissed, and they're pretty pissed on two different fronts. In this most recent draft, Pete Carroll did this. When Carroll headed into his first draft as a member of the Silver and Black, he knew exactly what the team needed and what he wanted to do. And if you know Pete Carroll, one of the first things he likes to do is build up his offensive line. He wants to have the best offensive line as possible, and when we, the Raiders, had some questions about the offensive line, Carroll addressed it in the 2025 NFL Draft. Two offensive linemen that Carroll drafted were Caleb Rogers and offensive tackle Charles Grant, both in the third round, and those were two great picks by Carroll, but more than just because of their talent and their ability and their pedigree, because they were rated highly. And so to get them in the third round was a get. But another team that was looking at drafting both of those players was Carroll's former division rival, the Santa Clara 49ers. For some weird reason, I just really, really hope Niner Beto is watching my show right now. That one had to hurt because the Niners were interested in both guys to help rebuild their offensive line and also, have some depth at their guard positions and tackle positions because both guys are very versatile, and the Niners, both guys they had highly scouted, were lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. I thought that was awesome. Okay, now as far as what we were talking about with Mark Davis, though, in truth, Mark Davis really does. He really does need to get out of the business. You know what I mean? I don't really think he'll be doing Raider Nation dirty because you're going to hear a lot of people say that, because he said, "Oh, I want out, I want out." And the rumors about him wanting out are going to start right now. But he's going to have at least a year, probably a year and a half, to kind of let that stuff go. Now, the only part that concerns me a lot, not a little, is that, hold on, I have to compose myself before I say it, so I won't get sick or my stomach won't get upset. Because minority owner Tom Brady could be the person who swoops in with a conglomerate of other rich people and buys the Raiders from Mark Davis. Oh. Hold on, I'm crying, and I just don't want anyone to be able to see it on camera real quick. Oh, my God. I think I'm going to vomit. I'm going to go ahead and vomit, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it on camera. I'm going to go ahead and vomit. I can't take it. That's so from start the clock right now, because this is where I slowly start to lose my sanity. Put foots in him, and this damn thing too. God dog it, son of a freaking no! I don't need Gemini. I don't need anything. Leave me alone. Okay, there. No, shut up. Okay, sorry. Caught me right in the middle of my freak out. That was good timing. But no, seriously, I don't want Tom to own the Raiders. I think he's going to end up going from the minority to the majority, and he's going to be the front figurehead of this franchise like a Mercedes logo, and I'm getting sick to my stomach, but I think it's going to happen. So I apologize, guys. I love you very much, but I think it's going to happen. Bob Starrett, I love you too. So, anyway, I love that Pete Carroll got over on the Niners in such a delicious manner at such a great position that really hurt them and helps us. I love it. Herman wants to know if I meant the Santa Clara Hyenas. Yes, that's another good name for them. Stephen Shaw, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. Marvin Suarez, I hate the Niners as much as the Queefs, and you know why. Real Raider fans hate the Niners because it goes way back to when the Niners and the Raiders had their battle at the Bay, and, if you go back that far, it's because you've been a Raider fan for life, and if you don't go back that far, it's no insult, you're probably just young, you know what I mean, but the Niners, were the mud that we had underneath our cleats, their team and their fans, and I can't stand them. Tanamoku, that was another name. I couldn't confirm that one, though. In other words, I didn't find an article like I did with the offensive lineman that we made the steal with. But yes, Tommy Mellott was scouted by a few teams. Even if the Niners were on that list, there was more than just the Niners. Whereas with the offensive lineman, they were specifically mentioned by the Niners as two guys that they were upset that they had lost out on. Steven Shaw! Appreciate the love, Steven Shaw. And welcome again to the show. Let's see. My Steelers are getting Ramsey was a waste without an offensive line. Airhead Rodgers won't make it past week 5, and then will suck with Rudolph. Peggy, that's about right. I appreciate you not making me say it because it would have made me look like a bully, and I don't want Tim to think I would do that to you. You know what I mean? Now, having said that, moving forward, I think that the Jack Besh pickup, and I know we're all talking about Dante Thornton, and I even was very aggressive yesterday, and I said that I think that Dante Thornton could surprise everyone, woo, and win Rookie of the Year, and I said it with my chest. I didn't back down. I know he's a rookie. I know he might not even get enough snaps to do that, but I'm saying it. Dante Thornton, Rookie Wide Receiver of the Year. Notice how I qualified it. I said wide receiver. It won't just be a wide receiver. He'll be the Rookie of the Year amongst all positions on offense. Rookie of the Year. I'm not sugarcoating it or backing down. I think he's going to win it. I really do. I think he's that good. I think what we've seen in camp is amazing. And if Geno Smith does what I think he's going to do, you guys are going to enjoy the show. See, people are mad at Geno Smith right now. For those of you who haven't seen the video, I'll just give you a quick breakdown. But if you want to see the video, it's everywhere, so it's easy to find. But Geno Smith basically was coaching a youth football team, and he's put a lot into it. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he's put a lot into it, both financially and his own time. And he won a game, and there were some people, I guess, heckling him and his team. And so... And I want to just say, too, and I'm sorry, I know sometimes I come off as like I like protect guys, especially if they're associated with the Raiders, but I'm just being honest. When his team scored and they could tell they had won the game, his players weren't talking trash. The other team's players and coach were talking trash because they were upset they lost. Now, I don't mind that. It's a different generation. To me, when I was on a squad, if we lost, you shut up. You lost, okay? To the winner go the spoils. It's an old saying that's been lost, but if you win and the other team loses and both teams were talking trash the whole game, you don't get to keep talking smack if you lost. You lost. And instead, they went in and kept yamming. Now, I'm sorry, I'm defending Geno Smith here, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm not a Geno Smith fan. I never have been. I'm just honest. What he's done in his career thus far, though, to me, you have to respect a little bit. The guy was drafted with a lot of praise and a lot of, fanfare that he was going to be legit. Then he wasn't. Okay? Then he got kind of crushed by the media and the press and fans. Then he sat quiet for a little bit. Then he went to Seattle. Then he starts to rebuild himself a little bit. He already showed it a little bit just before going to Pete Carroll in Seattle. But then when he got to Seattle, he showed it for back-to-back seasons. 2022 and 2023 looked pretty damn good. Then 2024 reverted a little bit because things in Seattle were changing. Pete was leaving. The offense was changing. There was rumors that they wanted to go with the other kid, Locke. So, when you're Geno Smith's not a stud, okay? So he can't just play his greatest, his best, unless he's got things kind of clicking around him and he's up here in the right place. That had been lost in that last season with him in Seattle, and so I don't really take the numbers from that last season too seriously, especially when you look at when it was him and Pete Carroll, and things were solid, and they gave Geno the ball and said, nobody's challenging your job. Go get him, kid. He was nice. I mean, if you go back and look at his numbers, I don't remember them exactly, but they were nice. And he leaned toward the explosive type of quarterback, a guy who looks for the bomb. He does not want to tip and tap his way down the field. Now, he can do that. He showed that in Seattle. But he can also let it rip. I mean, there's a big difference between wanting your quarterback to throw the deep ball and having a guy who can really throw the deep ball, like has confidence in it, shows you, oh yeah, you should see my deep ball. It's not just that he's trying to develop one, which is what Derek Carr was. Geno Smith is a guy who throws the deep ball by nature and knows that coaches want that, and so says to him, hey man, I can do this, and he can. So seeing him in the silver and black is exciting, but I try to throw the scoops around here. I try to challenge some of these other Raider shows in and of the fact that I make predictions that come true. Okay, now first, I told you the Henry Ruggs thing wasn't going to happen, and it's not going to happen, okay? Now, when I say it's not going to happen, I don't mean that he won't be back in the league. He probably could get back in the league, but it's not going to be with the Raiders. Okay, now that's one. Two, Geno Smith might have accidentally stepped on his own landmine, because Tom Brady is looking for a reason to get rid of him. And it's not personal. It's not racist. It has nothing to do with anything like that. It's just Geno Smith's not Tom Brady's guy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say not his kind of guy, because then that would sound racial, like he's making personal choices. It's not that. He doesn't see Geno Smith as the kind of quarterback up here that he likes. That's it. That's the only place, because I've heard him talk about that he gets along with him. He likes him personally. It's not that kind of stuff. Cam Miller is a shadow agent, a sleeper cell. He is sitting there just waiting for his opportunity. And I think Tom Brady has basically told him, keep your nose clean, train hard, keep showing me those tools you showed me in these little private workouts I had with him. And yes, Tom Brady had private workouts with Cam Miller before and after we drafted him. He is very high on Cam Miller. He likes the fact that Cam Miller was a very late draft pick that could come out of nowhere, that doesn't look like he necessarily has the exciting tools. But you have to think of Cam Miller like Joe Flacco young. You remember how Joe Flacco was? When he was young, he could sling the rock, he could throw the deep ball, and he could move his feet a little bit. It was slow. It was a turtle with, mastering his martial arts, and even though he was slow, he just had a sort of a way of sidestepping guys in the pocket and then going whoop and throwing one out there. And Cam Miller in workouts showed Tom Brady that is exactly how he plays. And so Tom Brady sees Cam Miller as a prototype of him. So obviously, with that being said, we know where Cam Miller falls with Tom Brady. Tom Brady wants to see him get an opportunity. And with the contract that he has and where he was drafted, he can't get that in front of Geno Smith. He can't. Geno Smith has to come, conquer, or he's going to lose his job. And he won't wait. He won't wait. Tom doesn't mind the controversy of looking like I'm dropping the axe on a guy who has a 2 or 3 year deal and I'm dropping it on year one, at the end of year one. At the end of this year, if Geno Smith doesn't produce a winner for us, he's gone. Okay, I got another comment from my first-time viewer, Raider Moore. I want to read that. Speaking of the Raiders owners, my sister ran into Christian Bale at Disneyland, looking very thin due to his role as Al Davis. Yeah, Raider Moore, great comment. I appreciate that. And I got to tell you, he's pretty famous for that. When he did a movie, it was a movie where he had memory loss. I can't remember. I think it was Memento, I want to say, was the title. But he was a character that had memory loss, and he had to lose a tremendous amount of weight. And then he did the American Psycho. He gained like 20 pounds, got back to his normal body, looked just ripped, shredded like a bodybuilder. And then he got the Batman role, and he gained a couple pounds just to look, muscular for the role. And then he had another role where he had to drop the weight way back down again. And every time he does it, people start worrying about him, like thinking he's sickly. But he's just committed to his body and his diet and his role. And Al Davis was never a heavy guy. He was never a muscular guy. Even when he was younger, he wasn't, a wimp or anything, but he was thin. You know, he had any muscle he had was on a wiry, thin body. So I respect him for playing the role and really getting into shape. Troy Gill, I'm doing great, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Stephen Shaw, I appreciate that. I'm doing great, brother. I appreciate you asking. Devin White, Landon Roberts, and Jermaine Pratt are going to create havoc. Bob, I gotta say, sorry, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. I gotta say, I'm as excited about that as I am about what we're doing on the offensive line. Pete Carroll is just bringing it together. Jack Besh, I watched another video of Jack Besh, and I really liked how he was running his routes, making catches with his hands. But he had this one, well, actually two. He had a catch where a guy basically wrapped him up, okay? And I thought, oh, okay, he's going down. And you know how it is. You've watched 100,000 videos of football, and you see guys, when they wrap both arms around a guy, you expect the guy to go down. I was so surprised because Jack Besh catches the ball right at the point in the air, bare hands it. No body, I mean, he had gloves on, but he didn't use any part of his body. He just reached out and pulled a diamond because the guy threw the ball hard. He reached out, snapped the ball out of the air, and then a safety hits him with the wrap up, and he just basically shook a couple times and then reached back and shoved the guy off of him, ran 5 more yards and walked in for a touchdown. And I was like, okay, that's bad tackling, but he also kind of manhandled when it, kind of sunned him, said, this is dad, son, bow, you know what I mean, and showed him how it is. And so Devin White, Landon Roberts, and Jermaine Pratt. Jermaine Pratt in camp showed great hands in practice. They were throwing stuff, and he was cutting in front of running backs. They've even got one on video where he was just sort of slow toe tapping, and he turned, and he reversed one hand, caught it. And so that guy's got skills, man. I mean, I knew Jermaine Pratt was good, but I didn't know he had that good of hands. And so in the middle and the kind of defenses we're going to be running, there's going to be a lot of 3-4 zone sort of nickel hybrid packages that we're going to be running where he's going to be able to drop back, and we're going to have linebackers now with really good hands, and then a Landon Roberts who's just a thumper. I wanted to sit on that just for a second because I know Peggy misses that guy. Come on, Peggy, be honest. I'm really excited about Landon Roberts. He is nice. Joe Holman, I'm sorry, brother. I had to bring it up a little bit because, I mean, can't you see it all coming? Mark Davis gets played into taking on Tom Brady as a minority owner and thinks everything's going to be fine. And I warned all of you, like the last 2 years or whenever Tom Brady signed on with us. It hasn't been that long. But the moment he signed on, there were other guys that have worked with Tom Brady in the past. And I told you on one of my episodes that I had more than a handful of guys that said, and I quote, Tom Brady will not be satisfied with being the minority owner. He won't. And everyone that knew him said he will try some way to make a move. And whether that means getting rid of Mark Davis or not, he's going to try to make a power play to where he really has a say in how things are going to go down. And remember, one of the first statements Mark Davis made when he made the sale, he said, I'm excited to have him in with the Raider Nation and the Las Vegas Raiders because of his acumen, and he can show me football in ways that I can't see it from the box. Right there, he basically said, I'm handing over control to Tom Brady in a very polite, eloquent way. And so that means that he had some publicist write it for him. There's no doubt about it. It didn't sound cocaine-fueled at all. So it couldn't have just been Mark Davis. Bear, you mentioned the Shady One's real name. My ears and my eyes are burning. My joints and my fingers locked up, and I have the video in CC mode. Oh, I love you, girl. What is the most underrated free agent Spytech signed that you think will have the biggest impact this year? Okay, Raider Moore, I appreciate the great questions because it helps my show because I have a ton of Raider information. I rake the internet. I talk to friends I know. I go for as much information as I can. I know Max Crosby's mom really well. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She's just a really sweet woman. I don't bother her for information or anything like that. Okay, but as far as Spytech's pick, I think that Tonka Hemingway is going to really impress us. Tonka Hemingway is going to take the middle and he's going to make it his. We lost John Jenkins to the Ravens. That was our real anchor in the middle. And a lot of us have been nervous about how we're going to replace John Jenkins. Christian Wilkins is nice when he can play. All right, now I haven't been honest. Well, not honest. I haven't been dishonest. But I mean, what I mean is I haven't talked about this very much. I've just kind of blown by it because I haven't wanted to say it. I've been trying really hard to not talk about this subject because I didn't want to jinx things. And I do believe in things like that. I just do. But here it is. Christian Wilkins' foot injury. I've had people asking me about it for the last couple of weeks, and I've been kind of hemming and hawing with you guys, and I apologize for that. Because I do have an answer for you. I really do. I have a definitive answer for you, and I just haven't wanted to give it because I'm praying that I'm wrong. But at this point, with what I'm hearing lately and what I'm reading lately, I'm not wrong. And I want to be. I'm going to still announce it. If I'm wrong down the road, you guys know me. I'll admit it. I'll bring it up. I don't have any problem with that. Nobody's perfect, and any of these other podcasters that try to make you think they're perfect, they're not. Okay? They get it wrong, and then they just don't do their show. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Tonka Hemingway, because Christian Wilkins ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. In fact, Christian Wilkins, we gave him a fat contract, so that means we're going to cut him or trade him, and we can't trade him, so we're probably just going to release him. And cut, release, whatever, cut sounds mean, release sounds polite, But you got to let him go because you can't have him keep sitting this long and not play. There's no way he's going to play. Now, why do I say that? The reason I say that is because there was some debate, and you know how it is with medical stuff. They try to tell you what's wrong with the guy, but they don't want to go into too great a detail because it's a guy's privacy. It's medical history. But with athletics, obviously, they tell you what's going on. They just don't usually go into great detail. We have detail. So Wilkins' fracture is referred to as a Jones fracture. Now, I've known about this, and I know what a Jones fracture is. I've known about it for, a decade plus. I used to work in physical therapy as a personal trainer, working with patients who would get that exact injury all the time. So I know it very well. I know how it affects every athlete because I've had it happen to soccer players, football players, and basketball players in the time that I worked as a physical therapy assistant. And in my time in the gym and on the table with assistants working with athletes who have Jones fractures, it never ends well. It never ends well. It's akin to turf toe in how it's the kind of thing that on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's a 4, it's never going to be less than a 4. It's going to become a 5, 6, 7, 8 at some point. So if you're feeling pain at 4 or 5, you're done. Because it's never going to be a 4, a 5 soon. It's going to be a 6, a 7, an 8. It only gets worse. It's what got Deion Sanders, and this is what's going to get Christian Wilkins. I can't see him playing football anymore. And I'm being harsh. I know I'm going all the way to retiring the guy here. But I think there's a very high likelihood he's done. Because a Jones fracture, for those of you who don't know, and I'm just going to use the bottom of my hand to demonstrate for you, because it's no different. This would be your pinky toe, obviously. A Jones fracture is a fracture that runs along the bone that supports your pinky toe and your next toe over. And it runs down your foot and into the base of your ankle. And that's the problem. When you break this, it has everything to do with like a jump cut. When you're playing basketball, it's a jump into the air for a rebound and a stop suddenly and putting a lot of outside pressure on your feet, which is something we have to do, obviously, athletically, on literally almost every single motion you make, especially for a guy playing on the defensive line. I mean, he's planting his feet hard left to right on every single play. So I'm worried about him because this isn't healing well. He was spotted recently in a boot again. When you're out of a boot and then back into a boot, that sends two signals. Now, it could be nothing and mean that he's back in the boot because he had to have an additional surgery, or the injury could have just inflamed. His foot could have swelled up some, and they'd say to him, it would be a good idea to get back in the boot. Or he's had additional surgery. It didn't go quite that well, and he's back in the boot. And from what I'm hearing reported, people are leaning toward there was some other procedure done to help with swelling and so on, and it's not having the effect that they wanted to. So when R8RBEAR asks me who I think could be the most underrated free agent, I think John Spytek's guy, Tonka Hemingway, is going to get the opportunity. It could be one of the other guys like Jack Besh, that sort of thing. The other cornerback that we brought in from Arizona, wasn't it? Illinois? I forget now. But our other corner that we brought in, he's really nice, and so there could be something there. But for me, it's Tonka Hemingway. I think he's going to be real nice. Tanamoku said Mellett and the Niners were one of the teams he was expecting to grab him based on what they told him. Well, that's delicious. Law Dog, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Oh, no. Tell me something good. Oh, God, that was terrible. I'm sorry, guys. Blame it all on Wilts Duncan, that handsome Creole-looking brother right there. We could be family, brother. Wait a minute, let me put that back up again. Look at Wilts. Good-looking devil. It is a bold statement, R8RBEAR, but I really do think that Dante Thornton has what it takes to be the Rookie of the Year. Now, I'm still on Ashton Jeanty. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to split some of the votes. I think the problem, I think the competition splitter is that Dante is going to be the one with the touchdowns. I do know that they're going to favor Ashton Jeanty because Pete Carroll's offense is a run-first offense, and it's a really run-centric offense. I mean, there were times when I saw him coaching with Seattle, and I just thought, man, I mean, you're really, trying to get in the mud with these guys. I mean, he would just run, pass, run, play action, run. I was like, Jesus. And it would work only because he would get 2 yards on a play, and it would look like, uh-oh, there's stuff in the run. And then he'd go play action, and then he'd run again and get 3.5 yards. And then he'd run again and get 5 yards on a toss right, that kind of thing, and get a first down. And so he makes it work. It's old school football. But he has a guy in Geno Smith who can uncork one. And so because of that, I don't see them going as a super run-centric offense. There's just going to be times where Geno's going to say, hey, man, I'm going up. Peggy is an honest Steeler fan, but she also loves to remind me that the Steelers have twice as many Super Bowl rings as the Raiders do. Okay, Peggy, you don't have to make it nasty, okay? You love your husband. You don't have to make it nasty, okay? Oh, Tim, you got a good one there. R8RBEAR, the Jets have screwed a lot of quarterbacks, and that's why, to me, it made no sense that Aaron Rodgers went there. When you really look at what he's doing, he's on the Morgan Freeman circuit. I'm sorry. I love Morgan Freeman too, okay? But you have to admit, he's turned into Black Nicolas Cage. He's doing a new movie every 10 minutes. Another one just started, and it's called Bullet Heat. And it's going to be in L.A., and he's going to be a black character in the movie who's an assassin for hire. But he's gotten washed up, so he hires a new guy, played by Nicolas Cage. They do so many B flicks, and I swear to God, I love Morgan Freeman so much because this podcaster had got him on. I don't know how, but Morgan anyway, I don't want to give you his line until I give you his line. But they asked Morgan a bunch of stupid questions, and then they said to Morgan, listen, he goes, you're a legend. You've made 100+ movies. You're respected throughout Hollywood, and your fan base is huge. Why do you keep making these low budget movies with boats and sharks, and you're filming with what's his name? I remember his name now. Demi Moore's ex-husband, the guy who played oh God, you guys all know who I'm talking about already. But anyway, he was doing movies with that guy and Nicolas Cage, and and he said, "Why do I keep doing it? I like money." I stood up out of my chair because I like money. Vicky Bear. I appreciate that, Vicky. Let's see. Naturally, interceptions will happen with him going deep, and fans will start hating. It's guaranteed they start asking for AOC. I think that's in part because if you allow that chaos to happen, Raider Moore, it gives Tom Brady a license to walk downstairs from up in the booth in heaven and say, hey, look, we went with Geno. AOC is a Band-Aid. We all know that. I think we should look at Cam potentially starting next year, and then we look in the draft maybe one more time, and then look at free agency one more time. No, not Aaron Rodgers, Peggy, okay? Even if you guys have come to your senses and let him go, we don't want him. I would be interested in if Miller outshines AOC in the preseason. Raider Moore, I don't think he will outshine him because AOC is a competent veteran now that understands how to take on a new playbook. He understands how the hierarchy of being the 1, 2, or the 3, all that stuff's under his belt now. Okay, so he comes in with no pressure, whereas Cam Miller is a rookie that doesn't know nothing. You know what I mean? He's coming in, learning everything. His head's spinning on all the different stuff he's got to learn. So I don't like the odds. Now, could it happen, though? Yes. Because, see, to me, Tom Brady is just the kind of guy that's just arrogant enough, I mean this in a good way, that he won't care about the backlash he'll get if he vaults Cam Miller from fourth on the depth chart or third from the depth chart up to 1 and says, I feel something about the kid. We saw him in OTAs and camp coming in. He looked great. Obviously he's a rookie. We have to, live with his growing pains. He's going to make mistakes. But I like his delivery. I like his, demeanor. I think the guy can play. And he said that about Cam Miller, and I've watched video of Cam Miller. He's not exciting, but he gets the job done. He reminds me of a really tall, no, not really tall, just tall. But he reminds me of a tall Alex Smith. You remember Alex Smith, the robotic quarterback that used to play for the Niners, and they always used to use him as the description of what you had if you had a system quarterback that never tries to do anything outside of the system, never tries to show his athleticism or run right, run left, make guys miss, and then throw a wild ball down the field. Alex Smith never did that. He always calculated and made the smartest decision. And if there was nothing there, he sometimes drove coaches crazy because he would throw the ball out of bounds. But it was the smart play. Sometimes, guys would get mad, but then they would end up winning the game by 3 or 7 in a close game. And had he thrown that ball and it had been picked, you know what I mean? So I never mind game manager quarterbacks. I never understood why that's an insult. If the guy goes in and runs the offense and they win, who cares if he's a system guy or not? I mean, we watched the Ravens with Ray Lewis and that super famous defense with Trent Dilfer at quarterback, a guy who sucked. Trent Dilfer sucked, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, Trent Dilfer's a smart guy. He runs schools now, training quarterbacks. He breaks down football on ESPN all the time. Smart guy, him and his brother. But he was never going to be a great quarterback, and yet he won with the Ravens throwing like one ball the whole game to Shannon Sharp, and he took it to the house. Let's see. I would add Chin to physical linebackers free agents we got on the D. I'm excited about. Jeremy Chin, the kid we got from the Commanders, Raider Moore. I'm more excited about him than anyone that we picked up. Anyone. Because when you have a guy like that, all your other defensive backs and safeties play better because of his knowledge. There's just going to be times where he's going to look at one of our corners and say, the slant's coming. So go get it. And don't worry about if he beats you or if you read it wrong because I got you over the top. But you go inside, you attack that slant. And if it's there, get that interception, brother. Let's go. And he will be able to do that for the corners. And more importantly, not only will he be able to do it, but Pete Carroll is a genius. A genius when it comes to very specifically working with making a defensive backfield that works cohesively, has a system of their own of communication that fits within the defensive calls to ultimately confuse quarterbacks even further because they never know if what they're looking at is what they're actually going to throw the ball against or call a run play against. It's incredible. And that's what he did with Pete Carroll did with the Seahawks. He's going to bring it here, and I can't wait. I think he can. Bear, you're burning my heart here. What, you mean when I say... no, I'm not going to say it again. Raider Moore, honestly, that was just smart business. You know what I mean? That was just smart business. I think that he's completely going to flush Mark Davis out of the system. You know what I mean? And in fact, there is, though, a good chance that it ends up being similar to what the Lakers did. I don't know how many of you saw that, but the Lakers were sold for $10 billion, but Jenny Buss, the former famous female owner of the Lakers, daughter of the former owner, Mr. Buss. But anyway, long story short, Jenny Buss isn't leaving the organization, even though she sold it for the $10 billion and she's stupid rich. She's still staying on as an executive vice president or some CFO, something. I don't know what it exactly is. But the new owner wanted her to stay on to help with business and fans and getting him acclimated with being a Laker owner. Bear, we really love you, but please, you killing these ears. I'm sorry. I'll never feel good about it, but I might feel just a little better about the B-Man if you hold a press conference addressing Raider Nation and fess up that it was a fumble. He did do that, Joe Holman, but he did it the way he does things, really on the low, on like one podcast. He did a couple with Charles Woodson where he wouldn't say it, and then finally on a second or a third podcast with Charles Woodson, he said it. He did say it. He just said it very on the down low, and it didn't get a lot of traction. So there's a lot of Raider fans that think he still never said it, but he did say it. He just said it kind of clandestine, and I didn't like that any more than you do. Oh, okay. See, I should have read your whole comment. I've heard talk that he has done that on a podcast somewhere, but he needs to address the fan base. Perfectly said. Raider Moore, it's just inevitable. The guy's foot issues are it's just too much. Vicky, I know I can't figure out how to turn off captions. I'm getting double whammy, my ears and my eyes. You guys are funny. Steven Shaw and Harena True. Hello. Mwah. No, that was for Corinna. Steven, calm down. Hi, Mrs. Shaw. No, you're not invisible, Vicky. Ginty, my prediction, 1,500 yards, 10 to 20 touchdowns. Okay, Raider Moore, we're not playing Madden. No, calm down. No, I'm just kidding. Now, the yards, I'm kind of willing to go with you. In fact, even the touchdowns, but I don't think it can be both. Does that make sense? I think it would be one or the other. Like, for example, he might get 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns, and that would be somewhere right in the middle of your 10 to 20. My prediction for Ginty would probably be, I want to say 1,200 yards, maybe 1,100 yards. And when my number's going down, it's not because of my thought process of his talent. It's more about Raheem Mostert. And I think that they're going to want Raheem Mostert to he's going to be a little bit of a workhorse for us. He's not going to be the feature back. That's Ginty. But I think the day and age of looking for a back that plays like the man, beast mode, Marshawn Lynch, and ask me how many bobbleheads I have. One. Or pop art, whatever they call those damn things. I have one. Only one. The man. Sure, I could have 50 of them. Don't want to. Marshawn Lynch. That's my Raider. Now, yes, I mean, I'm old school, so I'm a huge fan of, obviously Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen and Tim Brown and, all those guys. But Marshawn Lynch to me was as Raider gets. Jesse Parker, my fashion designer. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I'm doing real well. Oh, Vicky Ginn. Mwah. Love you, girl. Always there for a Raider Bear. Cam Miller is 6'1", 212. Mark Vargas, and honestly, I like the measurables. I like the measurables. I really do. Although when they say a guy's 6'1", that usually means he's 5'11", you know what I mean? They're not usually I am a genuine measured 6'3". So if he's 6'1", I like him because when you're our height, whenever you're over 6 feet, even if it's by an inch or two, you just have better sight lines in the NFL because you're getting offensive and defensive linemen now that are pushing 6'6", 6'5" as a normal thing now. So it's hard to see through those trees with all that action going on. So you got to be 6 foot or better. And if you're not, you got to be really like Drew Brees kind of, good, where you just know how to move and make those pockets and make throws. Raider Moore said, as a Lakers fan, he's not upset at the Dodgers owners buying them. No, Raider Moore, because they've proven that they will spend money. And if you're a fan of LA sports, and I'm not, I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. But if you're a fan of LA sports, you have to be excited about it. Although having LeBron do the buy-in at $56 million instead of buying him out, to me, was stupid. I mean, I realize it would have been embarrassing for him to get bought out. It would have made him look like he's washed up and retired, or like the Lakers don't want him or something. I don't care. You know what I mean? To me, you're slowing down the beginning of Luka and the Lakers and the youth movement they'll start to build around him. You can't do that when you're paying LeBron $56 million. And why do you think their offense kept breaking down last year? Because they kept having trouble, who's going to be the man on this play? Is it going to be Luka or LeBron? LeBron or Luka? Oh, whoops, turnovers. LeBron's turnovers skyrocketed toward the end of the year just because he was exhausted and, having trouble knowing am I supposed to take over now? Can I? I'm exhausted. I'm older than I've ever been. Should I do this? And all the flopping. And the Lakers should have moved on. I'm obviously not a LeBron fan, but at the same time, I'm not a LeBron basher necessarily. I do think he's one of the best players that's ever lived. I do not think he's a GOAT by any measure. He does not have Kobe or LeBron. He does not have Kobe or Michael's killer instinct. And I don't even think he's better than Tracy McGrady. I think if Tracy McGrady's body had held up, he would be considered one of the third or fourth or fifth. Vince Carter was better. You know what I mean? To me. For a long time. You know what I mean? But did he try to build super teams around himself like LeBron did? No. So Vince Carter didn't get a run of 3 or 4 rings. But he should have. He was that good. I got off football. Stop that. Now, Nick Wright, who we all know is a total weasel and a sportscaster on Fox Sports, but he actually likes the move, the Raiders picking up Geno Smith. And, obviously, we all think that Nick Wright's a weasel. I know I think Nick Wright's a weasel. But having said that, he isn't wrong all the time. Although he's always Chiefs. He isn't wrong all the time. Now, although I hate him because he's a Chiefs fan, and I think sometimes he, works a little too hard on some of these teams. Forgive my gesture. But I just think sometimes he's a total jerk. But he's with us on this. He feels like what Seattle did was a mistake to go to a quarterback that's not even as good as Geno Smith, and yet you're paying him a little more than we're paying Geno Smith. Now, over the lifetime of the contract, Geno will make more because he has incentives in his contract that the other guy, Locke, with Seattle now, doesn't have. So over the lifetime of the contract, he'll make more, but in reality, they're initially paying more to Locke with Seattle now. Okay, real quick. A Jones fracture is a specific type of broken bone that occurs in the 5th metatarsal, which is the long bone on the outside of the foot connecting the 2 smallest toes. This fracture is often caused by sudden force on the outside of the foot, and it is known for its high rate of delayed healing or no union or non-union. In other words, when they repair it, the repair doesn't hold right, and they have to go in and do it again. Meaning it may take longer for it to heal compared to other fractures. The treatment may involve surgery, casting, or wearing a non-weight bearing boot, or all of the above. And healing typically can take anywhere from 3 to 4 months. Well, we're way past that with this guy. And so that's why, with the type of injury he has and the fact that he's had prolonged healing issues to the extent that it looks like they had to do a second procedure because they had to put him back into a boot that he had supposedly progressed in his healing out of. And then a re-aggravation. To me, a re-aggravation is a nice way of saying that it broke again. It cracked. Something bad happened that has him further away from healthy, not as close to as bad as he was when he hurt it, but dangerously somewhere in the middle. And you can't gamble with that kind of money. They're going to move on from him. I just think it's sad. I'm kind of going through my notes and everything I had put up that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me see. I want to make sure I got everything. I talked about Jack Besh. I think Jack Besh is going to be the guy that makes it possible for Dante Thornton to win Rookie of the Year. I don't think Jack Besh will win it because I don't think he'll be as productive. And I only mean that in the sense I don't think we're going to target him as much. I think they're going to target Dante Thornton a lot because the reaction he's getting at minicamp, guys are stunned. I'm telling you, guys are stunned. Now, you can't really trust Max Crosby because sometimes Max Crosby just gets excited and he's like, this guy's going to be the greatest Raider of all time. But he was really excited from what he saw and basically made it clear that if he was on defense and knew that guy was coming, he'd be worried about it. And I thought that was cool for him to say. Obviously, he's got to say, good things about his teammate. But then when they started showing the tape and him going up and high pointing balls and catching everything with his hands and keeping it away from his body, which is, as you can tell, a big deal for me. I hate it when guys don't high point the ball or, grab the ball out of the air. You should grab the ball right out of the air. It's what aggressive pass catchers do, and if you can't do that, get out of the league because that's the kind of guy we need. All right, that's my show. Much love. I appreciate you tuning in. I will be on again tomorrow night at 8. Same time, same site. R8RBEAR, I hope I see you there. I need some more tasty comments. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. Woo! One more time. R8RBEAR! Woo! Hey, look, I could go another hour. I'm telling you, I'm on doctor's orders. I gotta take it easy. And my doctor's a sexy redhead, so if you had that, you'd pay attention too. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Mama Bear. Shut your mouth. All right, that's my show. Much love. And to subscribers, I will be on tomorrow at 4. To subscribers, I will be on tomorrow at 4 for subscribers only. If you have time, come on and check me out. We'll talk a little bit more about our Raiders. I have a little bit more I didn't get out tonight, but we will get it out tomorrow at 4. There's Shane Street. That's my guy right there. Appreciate you checking in. All right, that's my show. Much love. See you tomorrow. R8RBEAR family page. Hey!